If you hold Bitcoin, I would be very, very careful right now. This is the Bitcoin price chart on the weekly. And as you can see, just in this last week, Bitcoin has been rejected off that 200-week moving average. This is a very significant metric in Bitcoin's history. And first off, relatively speaking, Bitcoin hasn't existed for that many weeks. But ever since we've had enough price data to calculate this metric, bull market or bear market, the Bitcoin price has always rode above this indicator. Why this is significant to you and me is because moving averages are a very clear way to see momentum in a market. And while there's been select times in Bitcoin's history, in the bear markets, that we have broken below for brief periods before we shot back up, for the first time in Bitcoin's history, back in 2022, Bitcoin broke below and stayed below that 200 weekly MA, and we're still fighting to recover. Now, keep in mind that moving averages are lagging indicators, meaning something like this, you won't be able to time the exact bottoms, nor will you be able to time the exact tops. But this is good for seeing a trend change. In order to feel more confident that this isn't just some fake out, some bull trap, some bear market rally to trick you, to trick me, I'm still waiting for a breakout, and then ideally a breakout followed by a retest, and then a confirmation to that break to the upside. Now the Bitcoin price is up over 60% in these last few months from the FTX crash lows. Now another chance, a new weekly candle starts today for Bitcoin. Are the buyers exhausted, or can we keep going? I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot see the future, so make your own decisions. But for me, we can look to a few other key metrics. Exchange traded volume in USD, so this is Bitcoin versus USD, the total USD value of trading volume on all major Bitcoin exchanges. And just for perspective, subscribers of this channel know this. It's been over a month ago now that we started doing weekly updates on these metrics. Every 7 to 10 days, we check back in. And back then, you corrected me, rightfully so. Austin, you can't just look at the volume for one exchange. You got to look at all exchanges. That was great advice. When you make a comment, I try and read all comments as best I can. So again, is the total USD value of trading volume on all major Bitcoin exchanges growing stronger or growing weaker? Well, this black line in the back, very recognizable. It's Bitcoin's price history over the last 3 years compared to Bitcoin's trading volume in the blue on all exchanges. This right here was that September FTX collapse sell-off for Bitcoin. As you can see, massive volatility, massive trading volume as people were selling in panic. You can also see back in the bull run of 2021, healthy, steady, consistent volume increases as that Bitcoin price went up. My concern is right now, especially in this last uptick, as we hit that 200-week moving average, Bitcoin volume was small, relatively speaking, compared to what we know it could be. In fact, if we zoom in, let's just look at 1 year. Every time we head down, we see these massive volume spikes, the volatility of people selling. And while this initial pump back in January, early this year, the first 3 weeks, pretty healthy, as the price increases, the volume is declining. Something to note. And again, when in doubt, zoom out. We'll go back to the 3-year and comparing when this black line was at a similar level, when the price was at similar levels. Actually, let's start by looking in 2020, that pandemic crash. We see 1, 2, 3, even 4, 5. Maybe you count the 6th, maybe you don't, but 5 different times volume was much higher at these 20K levels, showing that the buyers were clearly there. The buyers were stepping up. Again, great for showing sort of a momentum, a trend in the market. Again, not the end of the world, but just something to note. And going further, what about macro? Because Bitcoin and all markets really are affected by macro. As of 2 days ago, the strength of the US dollar, the DXY, the Dixie, the dollar reaches an inflection point, a critical level for crypto continuation. And before we jump into this, we can quickly double check on the strength of the dollar, DXY. This is the dollar index on the weekly, starting from around 2012 till today. And we can see ever since 2021, since when around the Federal Reserve started aggressively raising rates, the strength of the dollar has only increased. Now zooming in, we see that the strength of the dollar did take a little breather, took a little dip several weeks ago, and that allowed all these other markets to rally off that. Yet, since we've started creeping back up, this is that inflection point. Why this is significant is because if the dollar is stronger, people want to hold the dollar. That means less money to other assets. That means less money going into crypto. And specifically for Bitcoin, because USD is 1/2 of most cryptocurrency trading pairs, due to the dollar being the global reserve currency, when the dollar is strong, the other side of the pair weakens. These last few months were nice. They have provided a much needed relief rally across asset classes thanks to falling USD. But now, where we stand today, after retracing back to COVID levels, the DXY is again attempting to find support. And what changed? What happened? Well, we know that the reason the strength of the dollar, despite heavy inflation, basically this just shows that the strength of our garbage, our fiat in the US, is stronger than every other nation's fiat. That's why the dollar strength is going up. We know the reason that we started this incredible run is because of the Federal Reserve. Such aggressive rate hikes strengthened the dollar and thus weakened other markets. Now, in these last few weeks, the Federal Reserve did become slightly more dovish, did suggest that they're slowing their pace instead of seeing these 75 basis point increases. The rhetoric, the language started to adjust to now we're easing. We're only going to see a few more 25 basis point increases and then probably hold. And of course, what happened? The markets anticipated. We had a little relief. Of course, again, what changed? What just happened to cause this inflection point? As this channel broke down just 3 days ago, we got the new data, meaning the new CPI data gives the Fed more ammunition to continue tightening. So yes, technically we are going down, but it's sticky. Inflation is not going down as easily as we all thought, despite how aggressive the Federal Reserve has been. All this, of course, affects you, affects me, affects Bitcoin. So as we look into this next week, knowing that we just got this rejection off the 200 MA, understanding that volume isn't really strengthening, volume's getting weaker, and then seeing that the strength of the dollar has started to inflect back upwards as people anticipate Jerome Powell's next move. Be very careful this week, thinking that we're already back in the next bull run. The minute these metrics change or I get new information, I'll make a video, I will keep you updated. And some of you have been asking, who are you? Who is Altcoin Daily? What is your background? Well, Cointelegraph, the channel, the media site, just did an awesome breakdown on our story. Altcoin Daily reveals its story for the first time, Crypto Stories, episode 21. So I will link this down below. Check it out if you're wondering who I am. Who is Altcoin Daily?